What is up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of my team. It is episode 4 of season 1 of 141 Motorsport, and we're here for the Azerbaijan Grand Prix. But before we get in, if you missed out the Monaco Grand Prix where we nearly got points, then I'll leave a link to it in the top right hand corner of your screen. And also, if you want to check out the full series, I will put a link to the playlist in the description down below. But now in this video, we have some upgrades on the way. So we have a rear wing main flap and general wear on the way. And now we're going to look at the standings after last race. So it was Lewis Hamilton who picked up the win then in Monaco. We came P11 as Vettel came P10. He's had back-to-back P10s, but in Monaco he got the fastest lap. And nobody retired from the Monaco Grand Prix as well. So that's pretty good. As you saw there, we signed Distort as our new secondary sponsor. As we look at the standings, and Hamilton is now 21 points ahead of Lando Norris there in the championship, and in the constructors, Mercedes are flying. In the constructors over McLaren, and in the rivalry we are 9 points equal. And you can see my helmet's changed there. That's the default helmet, so that will be changing for next episode. It's because I got a thing saying that some of my stuff will be lost. I don't know why. That I bought from the item shop, so that's a waste. But we're looking at some upgrades there. We did a durability upgrade, and we're looking at activities which we filled out in the last episode. And now we are just going to advance time now to the Azerbaijan Grand Prix until the 3rd of June.
We are in a position now where we're able to attract a new sponsor to the team. Head on over to the corporate tab and select the sponsor screen to choose who we should approach.
We have a chassis department event to go to.
Looks like our driver has an issue. We need you to step in here.
So, Joe believes that if they can spend some more time in the simulator this week, they can make some breakthroughs with R&D. However, this would mean they would not be able to attend a meeting with the chassis department. What should we instruct the team to do? So the simulator is we get second driver experience plus 7, and we also get a 10% discount on the engine cover. Or if we do the department, then we get resource points.
You handled that well. Thank you.
So I decided to do the department so we get an extra 1,000 R&D points, and we're going to spend them straight away. So we're going to spend it on the improved energy store, which is going to come in for the 14th of June, I think. On the 10th of June, I think that was. As we look at the R&D in progress, and we've got a lot of upgrades on the way. We've got a powertrain, 2 durability, 2 chassis, and an aero on the way. As now, we're going to advance some time now to the Baku Grand Prix weekend, as we get the rear wing main flap and main plane, and we also get the general wear, so that's good.
Okay,
so now,
we've had the new parts come through the fabrication process. We'll have them with us for the next Grand Prix.
So, we're just looking at tyre allocation. You can't change it for this year's game. And then we're going to look at the power unit, because it's getting pretty worn, so you may have to take a fresh engine after practice. We'll have to see what it's like. But now let's head into the workspace to get ready for the weekend. So here we go. So we got those confirmed 3 upgrades. We got the engine power ignition system as well. As now the weather forecast says that there's going to be some rain for the start of the Grand Prix, and then it's going to dry up. And we got a power unit upgrades message. So we got some power unit upgrades from Mercedes, which is our engine supplier. And we're going to And going into the performance comparison or the progress history, we are I think we're just below Alfa Romeo. But now we move into practice. So here are the then sat in the garage. We've got the race strategy, fuel management, and qualifying pace practice programs to do. But first, we've got to, of course, load up the setup, which I've set it as Baku Dry. And this is a Tira limitless setup, I think this is. So we're running 6/8 wings, 82/56. I do change it down to 55/55. And then for the suspension geometry, we're running negative 280, negative 1, 0.07 and 0.2. Suspension 153.927, brakes 155 as always, and tyre pressures are on full. So now we move into the action then, on track. As Baku, it was a struggle, because I had to get used with not being in the cockpit cam again, as we completed all of our practice programs by using a bit of a quick practice, and I had to get back into the rhythm of not being in cockpit cam, as now the engine components are quite worn, so we're going to take a new fresh component before FP3, and we're not going to do any running in FP3, so we're just going to head on straight into qualifying. But before we do that, we're going to look at the resource points, as Guanyu Zhou gets us 100, so we score 700 points in total, bringing our total up to about 1,400, as we get a lot of development boosts applied to our parts, which we might spend some at the end of the video, at the end of the race weekend. And now, after all that, we're going to move into the acclaim for the team after we get a lot of development boosts applied, as we don't really get a lot of boosts here. But onto acclaim now. Guanyu Zhou levels up to level 6, so that's good, and so does the team level up to level 6 as well, so that's also a big good for the team. But now let's head into qualifying for the Baku Grand Prix. And then so now let's move into the first qualifying lap, and you see we went a bit wide there. Again, first laps of qualifying, always scruffy. And we're going to come down the big kilometre down front straight, as we're going to open up DRS. We're going to stick to the left hand side of this to get the shortest run to the line, and we set a 1 minute 39.963, which puts us P7 and last of the runners that have run at the time. As now we're going to move into my last lap in Q1, and I'm going to leave you with the engine sounds, and I'm going to see if we can get out of Q1. So I will join you back once the lap is finished. So now as we come down the main straight for the final time in qualifying, might be, open up DRS, stick the car to left hand side, but 8/10 up, as we did nudge the ball there, but as we cross the line, as now we have to wait till we get confirmation until in the timing screen there, as we get our XP for the podium pass. And Hamilton tops the session with a 1 minute 37.251 in Q1, and we scroll down, and unfortunately we did get knocked out in P18, so we were 1.8 seconds off the pace. We set a 1 minute 39.062, but now we're going to move into an interview with Claire, so yeah, let's get on with it.
Let's have your take on it. It looks like you've invested heavily in the development of new parts.
Yeah, we have. We're starting to rack up those resource points, which gets us the things to get the points, but I think a lot of our effort is spent into the power unit.
How will not
shows.
making Q3 affect your strategy tomorrow?
I just think it does throw a spanner in the works, but we're just going to have to try and aim for some points.
Great. Well, that's everything.
So now we move into the rivalry, and Giovinazzi outscores us by 1 point, which means he gets a 1 point lead now. So I don't know how much he's leading by, because he doesn't say. Acclaim wise, not really that much affected. Not much change. But now let's move into the Azerbaijan Grand Prix. Just quickly before the race starts, make sure you subscribe to the channel, because only 51.5% of you guys are not subscribed. So get subscribed, and let's get back to the video.
Warm welcome to all of you watching at home to today's Azerbaijan Grand Prix, and a race that in its short history has already proven no stranger to drama. A fourth row start is just about as likely to give you a podium as a pole position would. And remember, in 2017 and 2018, both Lance Stroll and then Sergio Perez took surprise podiums here. It's 3.7 miles around a lap of Baku city circuit then, with 7 rights and 13 lefts, giving us a total of 20 corners. Watch out for the safety car today. Incidents are already common on this circuit, and the wet conditions will only make things worse, particularly through the incredibly narrow turn 8. And I'm joined once again by Anthony Davidson to bring you the lowdown for today's race. So, let's briefly discuss Lewis Hamilton. That was a great win in the last race. Can they keep that momentum going this weekend?
It's always nice to come into a Grand Prix weekend on a high, but your expectations are based much more on your practice and qualifying runs. So it's the momentum from those sessions that they'll be hoping to carry into the race today.
It's time to see how our drivers are stacking up after yesterday's exciting qualifying session. Lewis Hamilton lines up on pole position, and Valtteri Bottas will line up alongside. Looking down the rest of the grid, we have Norris, Ricciardo, Charles Leclerc and Verstappen, Sainz, Perez, Gasly and Sebastian Vettel, Tsunoda, Stroll, Fernando Alonso and Ocon, Mick Schumacher, Jackson, Nikita Mazepin and George Russell, Joe, Latifi, Raikkonen, they've taken a grid penalty, and Antonio Giovinazzi starts from the back of the grid. That's it then, it's time to go racing as we head to trackside for today's race.
Right then, so here we are on the grid for the Azerbaijan Grand Prix. And we start in P16 due to both Alfa Romeos taking grid penalties. But we're going to look at the race strategy. It's going to be a wet to dry race, so it's not going to be inters to inters. But there could be some safety cars as well in this race. Hopefully not. But yeah, we're starting P16. We've got Mick Schumacher alongside us once again. The second race running. So let's get onto the end of the formation lap. We're also starting to do formation laps now from this race onwards, because we've been struggling with the engine being quite cold as we start the race, so we're going to do formation laps to warm up the engine so we don't pick up too much understeer. as now we're just going to line up on the grid in our grid slot in P16 as always. Well, not always P16. I'm just going to wait for the other cars to line up in their grid spots, as now we're going to go to 5 red lights here for the Azerbaijan Grand Prix. You want to get 3 green bars on there for a perfect launch as lights out, and away we go. And we get a good start initially, but then second phase we bog down a bit more as we get overtaken. We're going to send it down the inside. We're going to go 4 wide into turn 1 as Schumacher goes around the outside. He's up into P13. We're in P15, as now we're going to send it down the inside of Ocon into turn 2, as now we go down the one of the 2 back straights here in Azerbaijan for the first time. We're going to deploy the ERS, as we're going to try, but not for long. We're just going to go up until we get to 7th gear, as now we go down into turn 3. We're going to try send it on Stroll there. We managed to just about squeeze through there, as now we go down into turn 4. It's a bit tricky in these wet conditions, as what it was like in qualifying, as we now go down into turn 5 and 6. We squeeze Stroll out there a bit, as you see on the proximity arrow, and now we move later on in the lap, about turn 12, and we get a bit of a poor exit there. A Stroll now is going to come look up the inside here into a tricky corner. We squeeze him out. Oh, and he's crashed. We've hit the wall, the yellow flags, as we slow down. We've got safety car in this first race, and watch this. It goes from a virtual safety car to a full safety car. That's the first time I've seen this in this season and this game, as Esteban Ocon and Stroll are out the race. We get given a 5-second penalty for a severe collision with Ocon, and now we're going to pit at the end of this lap. I have also put the safety car thing on increased for this race, because we haven't had any, but that has thrown a spanner in the works, as now we're going to have to pit, get a new front wing, and also, as you can see there, our diffuser's broken. We've also got Jeff back. I forgot to say, we actually got Jeff back as well, so sorry if I'm talking over him, but yeah, we got Jeff. I managed to get Jeff working, so that's pretty good. So I'm going to come in for our pit stop. We're going to get our front wing changed as well, but we're going to have to wait 5 seconds until the team can do any work on the car, so it's going to be quite a slow one. It's going to be 13.5 second stop. As you can see, we've got diffuser damage there.
Okay, stay clear of the white line on the exit.
As you get a warning for crossing the pit lane exit. And now we're going to look at the race restart now. So we go to 5 red lights, and there it is, it's lights out. As now we go down into turn 1, Lewis Hamilton cuts across Valtteri Bottas there, as we climb up the order then from P16 to, we did go P14 temporarily, as Bottas and Norris were fighting there. Lando's going to get up into P2, as that's a bit of a glitch there, but yeah, there is a bit of a glitch in the rain. As you see, those black square things, that's just the rain. It's another glitch on the it seems to be all the Xbox One version that I find all the glitches. It's just always me, because I watch other YouTubers and they don't have like these type of glitches that I have, which is weird. So it might just be either an Xbox One thing, or it's just, I don't know, because Codemasters and EA did have to make about, I don't know, they had to make a PC version, an Xbox One, Xbox Series X and S version, PS5, PS4, so that's like 5 versions of an F1 game. Although I think, to be honest, the Xbox version is just for both. But we're going to have a look at a replay now of the incident. So as you can see, Stroll actually got alongside us. I squeezed him out, he backed his tyre and he just went skidding into the wall then. And then Ocon just drove into the back of me, because I was slowing down because of the virtual safety car and my delta was positive. I don't know, but anyway, we're under safety car now, so it's Lewis Hamilton who leads the way, followed by Lando Norris and then Valtteri Bottas in P3. And it's followed by Charles Leclerc, Daniel Ricciardo, Sainz, Max Verstappen, Perez, Tsunoda, Gasly, rounding out the top 10. And then outside top 10 at the moment, we've got Vettel, Schumacher, Fernando Alonso, George Russell, Antonio Giovinazzi, Latifi, Guan Yu Zhou, Kimi Raikkonen, and then me and Mazepin, who had to pit on lap 1. So now we're quite far behind. But now we're going to move on to the end of lap 3. The safety car is coming in. And we're going to just heat up the tyres a bit more, because I'm going to try and floor it to get a good restart. So we're I'm just going to start backing off a bit and just start weaving a bit to heat up the tyres, get a good gap, stay within 10 car lengths. And now we're going to floor it about now, as soon as the prepare to resume racing comes off. And now we're going to go into green flags, as now, we set a new personal best. We're going to send it up the inside of like 3, 4 cars. 3, 4, 5 cars up into P15, as now we're going to go down the second straight, as we started P20 from this race restart from the safety car. As now we're going to go down into turn 3, as we're going to take it a bit cautious. We're going to look for the move up to the inside of George Russell. We get a little bit, a bit of wheel spin there. We lose control of our car, and Guan Yu Zhou has bumped into us. Oh no. And here's a radio message from Jeff.
Easy. We don't want to see you take each other out.
So yep, he's just saying don't want to have each other both out the race, as actually Guan Yu Zhou is actually going to retire because he has significant damage. But now we're going to move on to the end of lap number 4. We've got side pod damage, and we're going to check the weather report.
No rain expected for the time being. We're not certain which is the best tyre right now, dries or inters.
So there you just heard Jeff saying that it's actually currently stopped raining, as now onto lap 5 the Tiffy's going to have a look at us, and we're going to try and defend it as much as we can, as we're going to leave him the room on the inside. We just touched the wall a bit there. We didn't get any damage, luckily. Now, we go into turn 6 and 7. We've just missed the apex there. In turn 5 and 6, we've got a new strategy option here. We're going to go into the medium tyres at the end of this lap. So the team are already saying that it's dry enough for slicks. So we're going to move on to the end of lap number 5, that lap, and we are going to box this lap. We're going to deploy the ERS all the way. I'm going to deploy. No, we're not. We're going to turn it off. We're going to. I'm saying, should I pit? Should I not pit? I'm deciding to pit, because as soon as we get into the pit lane, DRS gets enabled. So we've done this changeover perfectly, as we got Giovinazzi coming out ahead of us, and we're getting our front wing changed. Well, I have it on auto, so we must have touched the wall, but it showed nothing on the indicator.
Go. You'll be racing on the exit. Go now.
So now we're going to 6.9 second stop, and now we're out on mediums. Get a bit loose there, and I was actually really struggling for grip because of our diffuser damage and our side pod damage, so I was really struggling to get the power down.
DRS is now enabled.
But it's actually still raining a bit there on the raindrops of the screen. I think that's just spray coming up from the tyres. And now we move on to lap 8 now, and Raikkonen has caught up to us. See, you can just see how much we're struggling. We're just sliding all the way around. So I don't know if the team have made the right decision to put us on mediums, As now we go through the castle section, and I don't know why I short shifted up to 5th gear, but I like to short shift to 4th gear there during the castle because it helps me get more traction. As I'm gonna go down the home straight now, as we're gonna set a new 2.4 seconds up, but that's because our last lap time was in the wet. Actually, no, it wasn't. It was in the dry because the track is dry now, so that's good. And now we're gonna have a drag race versus Kimi Räikkönen, but he's gonna get DRS, so he's gonna defend like crazy, and now he's gonna get past us. We're gonna let him go past because we might be able to get him on the second straight. But as we now go down said main straight, we open up DRS, deploy the ERS, and we're not making any. I mean, we are making some gains on Kimi, but the straight is just not long enough. So now we're going to move on to lap 10, and we've spun and hit the wall. So now that is going to deploy the full safety car. So that's our second safety car of this race. As now we're going to have to come into the pits because we've got no front wing. So, and I had to use a cheeky flashback here, you just didn't see, because I didn't want to put any editing in the video even. So I'm going to come into the pits for the second time this race. And we're going to get our, our third front wing now? I don't know. As that is a 8.6 second stop. We're on the hard tyres for some reason. Jeff requested the hards, so we're going on the hards, and we're going to pass the safety car. There's the first glimpse of the safety car in this series. And now we're just going to catch the safety car queue, which is 35 seconds ahead of us, which ain't good. So we have a lot of catching up to do, and these hard tyres were not fired up because, as you'll see in a minute, we go for a cheeky little spinala. Yep. As now the leaders have caught up to the safety, well, the leader has caught up to the safety car. We're just going to go full lock, and we get round. As now we're going to move on to we're going to move on to lap 14, and the safety car is going to come in now on this lap, at the end of this lap.
Let's get ready to go racing again. The safety car is in this lap. When the field accelerates, remember, there is no overtaking until the green flags. Safety car in this lap.
So now we're just going to weave like crazy to get the temperature in the hard tyres. And now we're just going to bolt it, or try to. And now we're getting quite close to Schumacher there. We have to let off we have to brake a bit, and now we're going to pelt it over, use the overtake button, and we're going to floor it, and we're going to see if we can get past George Russell here. We're going to send it down the inside of, again, multiple cars. There's Perez, who is was down in P14, now he's down in P15. And now Perez is going to have a look at us down the inside, but we don't manage to outbrake him. We're going to keep it side by side to there, get quite close to the wall there. As we make the move work, we're going to defend the inside, place the car in the middle so we can't make the move. And now we're going to move onwards and upwards. We're in P14 now. As we get a little bit loose there, as now Perez going to have a look at us again down the inside of the corner before of turn 7. We're going to get hit. We have to drift around that corner pretty nicely, and I don't want to go side by side, so I'm just going to squeeze him out there as we just nab the wall a bit there. And this. I mean, it's been an alright safety car restart for the second one. And now we're going to come through the tight downhill 10-15, where in real life a lot of people crashed there. As we're just going to keep looking at the heads-up display for the damage. We're not bothered with the fuel at the moment. We've saved a lot of fuel. As now we're going to come down the main straight, and we're going to get yellow flags. And that isn't the Latifi that's retiring. That is actually a Williams of George Russell that is going to be retiring from the race, probably because of an engine issue. I didn't manage to get a replay of it, but I need to do a lot better with this. As Latifi and Alonso going side by side now on lap 16, as there's confirmation of George Russell is out of the race.
Okay, the stewards have now
And then move on to lap 17.
DRS is now on the
And
line.
Juven actually sent it up the inside, but he made contact with us, broke his full front wing, and that has deployed the safety car.
Negative, which means you are too fast. Reduce your
So we
pace.
have our third safety car of this race. This is absolute chaos. It's been, well, we had a virtual safety car that went to a safety car because of the accident on lap 1, and now we've had 2 more safety cars. And now I'm going to set the repair front wing to no. I'm going to add 1 on the front wing, so we're now running 7-8 wings.
We'll receive you at the
I'm going
end
to
of
box this lap for some medium tyres. I'm going to try to go to the end of the race. As Bottas pits, and so does Ricciardo. They're going to go both onto mediums. And now we come into the pits for the 4th time, I think this race. I'm going to get off these rubbish hard tyres, and we're going to go into a fresh set of the medium tyres.
Exit now. You'll be racing
We had a 2.5 second stop this time, which is the quickest stop we've done today, but that's because we didn't have a front wing change. And now we're going to come out in P15, just behind Sergio Perez, and run lap 18. We've had 3 safety cars, and we're on lap 18. So now we move on to lap 19. We're going to go into sector 3, and the safety car is going to come in once again because everybody has joined the train. All 18 drivers of us.
Safety car
So that's
is in this lap.
4
Safety
retirements,
car
I think,
in this
maybe
lap.
5.
Let's make sure those tyres are up to temperature, and remember
That's
there
4.
is no overtaking until the timing
Is
line.
it 4?
Stay in
I don't
position
know.
until
I think
the
it is
green
4
flags.
because we had Stroll and Ocon go out on lap 1, and then we had our teammate, unfortunately. As now we get a DRS failure. Great. Our luck goes from bad to worse. But lucky it's a safety car restart, so you don't really get DRS straight away. So as I was saying, we had Lance Stroll and Ocon going out on lap 1. Then we had Guan Yu Zhou, our teammate, go out on lap 3 because he crashed into us, lap 4 even. And then we just had George Russell there. So now we're going to move. Now we move on to the restart, and we're going to just hang back a bit. No, we're not. We're going to send it down the inside of Sergio Perez at least. It took me a few attempts. Yep. And now we're going to send it down the inside. Oh. That's a bit reckless. Oh well. As now we're going to have a drag race for Sergio Perez. We're going to try to squeeze him out to the right hand side as Perez gets past. And now on to lap 23. We're in the points. We're in P10. Made that P9 now as we go round the outside of Mick Schumacher. As now we're on 23. I can't remember if anybody pitted then. I don't think they did. So now we're going to move on to, we're going to look behind us. Mick Schumacher's coming at us at rate knots, but we're going to move on to the end of lap 23. And it's going to be a drag race. We're going to drain the ERS. And Mick is going to look for the move up the inside. He's going to get it. But we're going to make a similar move then. We're going to go late on the brakes. I'm going to try and send it around the outside, but it doesn't quite work. So we're going to wait until the second DRS zone. And now we're going to open up the DRS, deploy the ERS, use the rest of it, and we're going to disable it about now. As now we're going to go to the outside. As he squeezes it towards the wall, make a similar move to what we did on Sergio Perez on lap, I can't remember, earlier. I think it's like the second safety car restart. As As now move on to lap 24, the end of it, and I'm going to again deploy all the ERS, as Mick Schumacher is going to come back at us again as Sainz gets past his teammate Charles Leclerc, and we're going to squeeze. We're going to try to squeeze Mick, but then we're going to try and make a similar move again. We're going to hold it around the outside though, and then kudos to Mick. He's going to keep it. He's going to send it up the inside as he then squeezes towards the wall, but we get the traction down. We're going to open up the DRS and we're going to pull away from him. So we're going to keep our P9 for now. But we're now on the penultimate lap of the race, and Mick Schumacher and Sergio Perez are actually tangling behind us, which can make them lose time. As now we move on to the final lap of this crazy Azerbaijan Grand Prix, as Sergio Perez is going to have a look at us. I think Mick Schumacher has dropped off a lot, as actually Sergio Perez is going to pull in the pit lane. So I don't know if he got wing damage from us or when he was fighting Mick Schumacher, but we're still in P9, as now it's Nicolas Latifi and Daniel Ricciardo running right behind us. They're a second away gap behind us, as now it's going to be a complete drag race to see who can get P9 in this Azerbaijan Grand Prix, and it might all come down to the last straight going up to the finish line, as we're going to stay on board for this final lap of the race, as Latifi and Ricciardo are still about a second, as our tyre wear is 27% on the right rear. As now as you can see the proximity error for Latifi has now just got in the DRS 1 second gap, and so now we go up through the castle section for the final time. We get that absolutely perfect, and we're going to go down the rest of sector 2 now. We're going to go into sector 3 for the final time, as Latifi's going to have a look then at the inside, but he's not going to quite make the move work, as he doesn't quite get alongside us there. As now from starting P20 on from starting P16 to being P20 at the end of lap 1, we're going to come through the final 2 corners to get points. Oh, this has been the greatest race I've ever done. As now we're going to have a drag race down to the finish line. Latifi and Ricciardo going side by side, as now they're going to gain on us now, as it's going to be oh my god, voice crack. It's going to be quite close going across the line then. But the real reason is, did we get P9 or did we get P11? As Nikita Mazepin ends the driver of the day. For getting P8, that's pretty good.
Stuff from Red Bull today. What a superb victory. Anthony Davidson, how do you think they were able to set themselves apart today?
Well, time management probably played quite a large role in the outcome of this one. As ever, it's not just about speed, it's all about maintaining that speed consistently over a stint, over a race distance. So being able to keep up the lap times while still being smooth on the controls and gentle on the tyres, that's really where the race was won today.
Red Bull are our winners today after showcasing some incredible driving. There's been a huge push from them lately to stay competitive with the other teams, and they're certainly proving themselves. Let's have a look then at the drivers' standings. Well, the gap at the top of the championship has been cut down after a difficult race today for our championship leader. Now, let's discuss, Ants. Who would you say is a contender for driver of the day?
Nikita Mazepin gets my vote today.
It's time to check out the constructors' standings. Mercedes continue to extend their lead. Another team that excelled today was Williams, who make further progress up the table. Well, that was certainly an incredible weekend of racing. Be sure to join myself and Ant for more exciting Formula One action soon.
So, there we go then. We finished P9 as Max Verstappen picks up the win, followed by Valtteri Bottas and Lando Norris finishing on the podium, then followed by Gasly, Sainz, Vettel, Leclerc, Mazepin, myself and Ricciardo finishing out the top 10. Missing on the points, you have Latifi, Hamilton, who picked up the fastest lap, Alonso, Tsunoda and the rest, as the gap between me and Ricciardo was literally I think like, what's that? Well, it was I don't know. But as we look at the standings, as Nikita Mazepin moves up to P14 there, good for him. He's got his points. As now we move to P16. We're last of the point scorers, and now in the constructors, we are now in P9 with our 2 points to our name. And that was a cracking race, and I've got an interview with Clark.
That was an exciting race from our perspective. Let's have yours. You gained a lot of positions during the race, didn't you?
Yeah, I would say that it was because our power and advantage came in handy. Really came in handy.
All expectations. What's your secret?
I just think that the only secret here is that there isn't any secret, and it's just about having a great team and car behind me.
How do you feel the weather affected the outcome today?
Well, I mean, it did change the strategies, but the top drivers still performed to the best, even though Lewis Hamilton came P12.
It wasn't the cleanest race today, was it?
Yeah, well, I mean, none of us wants to be the person to back down. These things do happen. It's a thing in
Appreciate your
F1.
time.
So now we move into the rivalry breakdown, and Antonio Giovinazzi getting the point on us, and there we go. He's 14 points, so he's 2 points ahead of us. As claim-wise, we level up to level 4. Joe goes up to still level 6, and the team go up to level 7. Let's go. As now we move into the cash, and we got our distort money for 128k. Damage deductions are a lot. We lost all of our money from my side of the garage, and Guan Yu Zhou gained 15k, so it's only 15k. We now have 1.62 million in the bank, so let's head over to the HQ. So back in the HQ, we've got the Canadian Grand Prix next, and it's just a short break to the Canadian Grand Prix. But we're going to do the second driver performance review and the driver promotion filming. So now we're going to move into the facility. So in the facilities now, we're going to buy something. We are just going to look through what we can buy, and I think we might just buy a quality we might just buy something on the aero, because that's spec 0, and we kind of need to work on aero, so we're going to spend it on the quality control, and I'm going to confirm that's going to come in the 12th of June, so that's going to come after the Canadian Grand Prix. And now we're going to move into the upgrades. I'm going to see if we can purchase some more. So we're going to see if we can purchase anything. I don't think we can, because either department capacity has been reached, or we just can't do any, because that was department capacity is reached. I think we can just do something on the chassis or the aero. So we're going to this one on the aero. So we do the rear wing outer strakes. That's going to come in. Oh, no, we're not. We're deciding. Oh, we did that. So that's going to come in for the after the French Grand Prix for Austria. And quick update on the upgrades. Still the same. And now we're going to look at driver market. So what I want you guys to tell me in the comments is, should we start saving up some money for either we re-sign our teammate of Guan Yu Zhou, or we buy a new driver, and that would be, it would either be a icon, but I don't really want to get an icon this early in the career mode. So if you do want me to sign a current F1 driver, then let me know who I should sign. Or if an F2 driver, then just let me know down in the comments. So comment down below who you want me to sign, if you either want me to stick with Guan Yu Zhou for the remaining of Season 1, or get a new driver in to replace him, as we're just going through the drivers that I'm keeping a watch of, that I will sign at a later point in the career mode. But that is going to be everything that we're going to be doing in this video. So it was a pretty good race, so let me know down in the comments. Also, if you like this race, make sure to leave a like on this video and subscribe down below. And we had a pretty hectic start to the race with 3 safety cars, one starting off being a VSC, then turning to a safety car, and then all the other chaos as well, with us breaking our front wing, getting diffuser damage and side pod damage. So we've had all of it, and also a DRS failing, as we're going to have a look at the replay of that, and pretty spectacular crash. Yeah, but I'm only joking. As I don't know why Ocon just kept going when I slowed down to make my delta positive. I just don't get it. But there was a lot more action than I was expecting from being Monaco, from being a boring race, to Baku, which actually was quite good. Even though, I mean, yeah. But if you did enjoy this video, as I said before, just subscribe. And there's our crash. Also be those 45% of people that are subscribed as well. So those other 54 odd % of you that are not subscribed, get subscribed, because there'll be more F1 2020 my team, and I'll also be doing a camera settings video, as I did in my post on my Instagram. So that video will be coming out between the next my team videos, so make sure to subscribe for that. But that is all I have today. I know I've been going on for like ages. This video is already 48 minutes long. It's like probably one of my longest videos on my channel, and it's just good. As we get a good, I just like the highlights on this game now. There's the screenshots. Oh, we did knock off Giovinazzi's front wing, as I thought, as that finish was quite close as well. But see you in the next video.